You know that feeling? You eat a huge bowl of fruit thinking, yes, I'm being so healthy. And then an hour later, bam, you're hit with a massive energy crash. It's so frustrating, right? Well, today we're going to dig into a really cool little experiment that explains exactly why that happens, and even better, how to fix it with a super simple hack.
So, can something as healthy as fruit actually make you crash? The short answer is a big, resounding yes. Fruit is awesome. It's packed with nutrients, but all that natural sugar can send your energy on a total roller coaster. But what if there was a way to flatten out that ride?
Okay, so first, let's really get into what the problem is. And look, it's not that fruit is bad, not at all. The real issue is all about how our body processes it, especially when we eat it by itself.
See, when you just eat a bowl of fruit, all that sugar hits your system like a freight train. This creates what we call a glucose spike. Your body then has to scramble to bring that sugar level back down. And the result of that scramble? That's the energy slump, the brain fog, and sometimes it even makes you crave more sugar. It really shows you that a food's healthiness isn't just about what's in it, but how our body actually handles it. This is where things get really interesting. Someone decided to put a simple idea to the test with a personal experiment. They asked, could one tiny tweak to their daily fruit shot actually make a noticeable difference in their energy? All right, let's look at the setup. It's super straightforward. On the left, you've got your standard fruit shot, just a bowl of fruit. But on the right, we have the better shot. It's got a little less fruit, but then adds in some fiber from cucumber and some healthy fats from pumpkin and sunflower seeds. I know it seems like a tiny change, but the science behind it is pretty huge.
So the goal was crystal clear. Let's measure the glucose spike from both versions of the chart and see if adding that fiber and fat could actually flatten the curve. Just a simple head-to-head comparison to get a really clean answer.
So they ran the experiment. And the results? Well, they weren't just a small improvement. They were actually pretty surprising and gave us a powerful lesson in managing our energy. So what do you think happened? Did adding a few seeds and a bit of cucumber really do anything? Let's find out. And there it is, a full 15%. The better shot led to a glucose spike that was 15% lower than the one with just fruit. Now that is a really significant measurable difference in how the body handled that sugar.
This chart makes it really obvious. That first, taller bar, that's the big spike from the simple shot. And the second, shorter bar, that's our better shot. That 15% drop means less of a sugar rush, and more importantly, it means you avoid that awful energy crash later on. It's just a smoother curve, and that translates directly into more stable, reliable energy for your day.
Okay, so we've seen the what, a 15% lower spike, but now for the most important part, the why. What's the secret sauce here? What's the principle that gives us that stable energy? The secret is this amazing concept called food synergy. It's just the idea that foods work differently when you combine them. In this case, the fiber from the cucumber and the healthy fats from the seeds, they act like a brake pedal. They literally slow down how quickly your body digests and absorbs the fruit sugar, which stops it from flooding your system all at once. So the strategy is actually so simple. You do not have to give up fruit. You just have to pair it a little more intelligently. You start with a little less fruit, just to manage the total sugar load. Then you add in some fiber from veggies and top it all off with some healthy fat from seeds. This simple little trio transforms a potential energy crasher into a stable, long-lasting source of fuel. Now, what I think is so powerful about this whole thing is how it went from being a one-time test to a real, lasting habit. This wasn't just some cool trivia fact. It was a discovery that actually changed a daily routine for the better. This quote from the source just says it all, doesn't it? The results were so convincing that this better shot became a permanent part of their diet. And that's because actually feeling the difference, like having steady energy all afternoon, is the absolute best motivation to stick with the change. And that is the big lesson here. We always think that getting healthier requires some massive, difficult overhaul of our lives. But this little experiment just proves that small, smart, intentional changes, like, adding a handful of seeds to your fruit, can have a huge positive impact on how you feel every day.
So as we wrap this up, let's bring it back to you. This was just one simple experiment with fruit, but this principle of food synergy, it applies to everything. So what's one small, intentional tweak you could experiment with in your own diet to feel just a little bit better? The answer might be a lot simpler than you think.